You know, I never really wanted to make this video. I was pretty content keeping this information to myself, mainly because I didn't want the other tribes on my server knowing how this was done. I was perfectly content playing I Have a Secret and leaving them scratching their little leprechaun heads, wondering how I figured it out when they didn't. And how my tribe had the only golems on the entire server. But after seeing one of the most popular Ark YouTubers in the world go into GCM just to tame this thing, and multiple people in the comments section wondering how to do this the right way, I figured what the hell, so here it is. So this is how I tamed a Shadow Rock Elemental using mostly thatch structures. So the first time I ran into one of these things, I had just finished up taming a new PT on Irby Island and was on my way back home. There is a Shadow Rock Elemental on...
Yeah.
Do they do bad things?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to punch them first, or are they aggressive?
They're aggressive.
Because it's on Irby Island.
Oh, we got a problem.
Turns out it was a big problem. 2 of these things would meet in a stone tsunami and destroy one of the other tribes' base. Oh no. Okay, now it's walking
What part of
towards...
the island is he on?
It looks like he already smashed part of the friggin' the walkway. Yeah, like it smashed part of the walkway. So, watching these petrified pugilists do work is like watching the unholy spawn of the Thing, Wreck-It Ralph, and the Kool-Aid Man gracefully gliding through a chandelier shop. And after seeing it in action, I had to have one for myself. But how do you lock down Manu Manu the Slender long enough to pound its pudding with enough medium velocity melatonin to make it go night-night? I had no clue, so I did what any of you would do. I went to YouTube and looked. Nothing. My tribe mate, Miss Meanren, went to the mod Discord and it said, hit it in the face with rockets or a cannon. Cannon? That made me think of something from when I played on the Scorched Earth Monarchy community server. I remembered seeing a trap that wasn't a trap at all. It was more like a spacer that somebody made to line up a rock elemental's face with a cannon and treat it like the Groove Father treats a bass drum. So back to YouTube I went, I found the original video, made it exactly like it said to, and it failed miserably. But hey, this is ASA and the trap was built for ASE and the size of all the structures are different, so it was time for me to put on my Bob the Builder hat and figure it out. And while I went through about 8 different variations on the theme, mostly making it way more complicated than it had to be, all I actually had to do was make it a little bit shorter and add a few components to make the dismount process a little less risky, and I'll explain all that in a minute. I'll put a link to the original video in the description. I strongly recommend you all go check that out if you want to know what all went into the design of the trap, because Nooblets explains it way better than I could. This is, after all, his original concept that I'm modifying. So the trap setup for ASA is pretty simple. It's really cheap if you want it to be. I use a metal foundation, 6 thatch foundations, and then another metal foundation. Stack 4 tall door frames, and lastly 1 short door frame to top it off. You may need to adjust this a little bit by using 5 tall door frames instead of 4 if you're using a flyer larger than a PT like an Argent or a Snow Owl. I do not recommend using a Griffin for this. When dismounting the Griffin, you do not immediately fall off the Griffin, and I thought this would be advantageous at first, but all it does is give the rock elemental an opportunity for pitch and practice. As soon as you stand up, it aggroes and tries to provide you with free facial reconstruction surgery in the form of flinging flaming Volkswagens at your face. Continuing on with the last bit of the trap, you set your cannon on the first metal foundation and aim it 2 clicks up and load it. And I like to put a storage chest with all my cannonballs in it at the back of the trap. And now, here is the really goofy part that I added to this trap. This, my friends, is the patented Miss Meanren anti-fire butt wall. It keeps your hind parts high up out of the aggro bubble while you're making your Tarzan swing back to that cannon.
Are you sure that this is completely necessary? Necessary?
No, it isn't absolutely necessary, but it does greatly improve your chances of getting through this unscathed. But if you're into taking rock art things to the face on repeat and mashing that respawn button like it's a link to hot tameable Rexes in your area, you go for it. You do you. I'm not here to judge your journey. But Mimic, I hear you say in a voice that sounds exactly like one of the ones in my head, but Mimic, why can't we just lead the rock elemental into the trap like Steve does in his video? Well, much like that special time you get every Wednesday and twice on your birthday, the part where that can get really messy is the dismount.
What do you mean by that?
So let's look at this from a mechanics perspective. Here is your rock elemental in the trap. We had the aggro range, and notice on Jack Sparrow's compass that the thing it wants most is to turn your Pteranodon into PT Pate. Well, as soon as you hop off the back of that hovering hunk of reptilian leather between your legs, you gracefully fall to the ground a decent distance from the thing's smoking hot girlfriend, but still well within the aggro range. As soon as you touch down, you're now a living, breathing thing inside the aggro bubble, and it would love to give you a hot stone massage, Primal Chaos style. Now, the reason this is okay with a vanilla rock elemental is that you use metal structures. Because when the granite gentleman tries to skip some stones and use your face as the lake, it hits the metal structures, and while it does damage them, the rock breaks, falls to the ground, and fails to find its way to tickling your tailpipe. All of that gives you plenty of time to run safely back to your cannon and let the golem go back to checking out that toit PT tushy. Now, with the Shadow Rock Elemental, metal structures are like matchsticks, so when it yeets a spicy Yugo at your face...
Fuck, you're old.
Fine, when it slings a spicy smart car at your sack, it treats your trap, your body, and everything in its path like it's Daenerys when she's having a bad day.
Dracarys.
To avoid all this, as soon as you hit the eject lever, you're going to pop a parachute, and then shoot a grappling hook at that wall that you put up behind your cannon. The big show might still aggro on you, and it might even try to feed you a spicy meatball, but that's unlikely to hit you when you're Spider-Man-ing your way back to freedom. So now you're safely at the back of your trap, right above your cannon, and out of the aggro bubble. The Hulk's first cousin twice removed will now go back to plotting a violent death for that poor, poor innocent fountain pen with wings. All that's left is for you to lower yourself to the ground, grab some cannonballs out of the storage chest, and feed it some spicy meatballs of your own until the sun gets really low for the big guy. So, let's do it. So, to build the trap like I show, you're going to want one metal foundation. You can use thatch for everything if you want to. Like I said, the structures don't matter. If these things hit it at all, it's going to fall down anyway, so, you know, you do you. 4 regular double door frames, or I'm sorry, tall door frames, and a single short door frame on the top. You're going to want to put down your cannon first, because if you put down the rear foundation for your storage chest first, then it won't snap. Go ahead and toss your cannonballs in there, and then you're going to build your grappling wall. And again, this doesn't have to be any particular size or shape or whatever. I just build it like that because that's what works for me. And now that we have our trap built, we have our cannon aimed 2 clicks up. We just need a Pteranodon, and there he is. So, it doesn't really matter which flyer you take. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend bringing a griffin, but whether it's the eagle or the owl or Pyramid Head's winged cousin, make sure you set them up just like follows. Now, it needs to be on follow. It sounds counterintuitive, but this is going to prevent it from landing when you dismount. Make sure you set the follow distance to 5. This is going to give you enough room to get to your cannon without it actually following you. And then make sure it's on passive. If it does, for some reason, get hit by the rock elemental, you don't want it going all Conor McGregor on that purple people eater, because I promise you, it will not end well for your flyer. Before you actually mount up, you want to make sure that you have your crossbow equipped with your grappling hook. I'm going to go ahead and destroy wild dinos so nothing gets in the way here. I have that luxury. So you want to make sure that when you're ready to pop off your Pteranodon, hit your parachute, and this is already ready to go. So now that we're ready to go here, let's go see what kind of trouble that we can get into.
But wait, there's more.
We're going to come right here, and I'm going to show you what I mean by being on follow. So, if you're on follow and everything is happy, you're going to hop off this Pteranodon, you're going to pop your parachute, and your Pteranodon's going to stay right where it's supposed to stay. Now, if you're not on follow, what's going to end up happening, and hopefully this thing doesn't make a liar out of me this time, because sometimes it won't do what it's supposed to do. What's going to end up happening if you're not on follow is you're going to come up here with your golem right behind you. You're ready to go. You get your head right where it's supposed to be, just above the top or through the top of that top rail. You're going to hop off. You're going to pop your parachute, and your bait is going to go land over next to the rock golem that it's supposed to be avoiding, and then it's just going to turn into PT Pate like we talked about before. So make sure you're on follow. Make sure you're on 5. Make sure you're on passive. Make sure you've got your grappling hook already equipped and ready to go. So let's go see what kind of trouble we can get into with this thing. Here, we're going to hit that destroy wild dinos to make sure that this is nice and clear. We're going to drop in our favorite 150 Shadow Rock Elemental. Get him to follow us. This is a vanilla PT. I think I can absorb about 3 hits if this thing hits me. And then this thing's donezo, so we're going to try to avoid that. You can see all my buddies in the background there cheering me on. We're going to come up here, stop our PT, pop off, pop our parachute, move to the side. He's going to throw a rock and miss us, just like we said in the instructions. We're going to come down here to our cannon, and look at him. Sticking his chin right up in the air, staring at that sweet, sweet pteranodon booty, just like we knew he would. Now all that's left is to grab a couple of these cannonballs out. It'll probably take about a dozen. One, you can count with me. Just to show you, he has taken torpor damage there. Every time he does that animation where he's like shaking his head, kind of trying to shake it off like one of Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriends. I don't even know if she sings that song, but I think she does. There we go. We have ourselves a sleepy, sleepy rock golem. Isn't that nice? Now all you got to do is slide over here to your new friend. You're going to pop the hood. You're going to drop in one of Gordon Ramsay's special tummy tonics. Then you're going to toss in, I don't know, however much shadow kibble that you need. Sit back, kick your feet up, and then wait for your new concrete concubine to wake up from her little nap. So, still sitting at 99% effectiveness. It's still showing that we're going to get 74 levels right here. So, we're still doing well. So, we should end up at 224. And there it is. There's our new 224 Shadow Rock Elemental. Completely unscathed. The trap's not damaged except for where I damaged it. Isn't that beautiful? All right. That's all it takes. That's all you got to do. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. I hope you have questions. Please leave the questions down in the comments. I want to say thank you for all the support that I got on the tribe taming video for this creature. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. And you will have your very own Emma Stone, or Oliver Stone, Sharon Stone, the family Stone, Josh Stone, Stone Phillips, Curtis Stone, Matt Stone, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Sly Stone, Sly Stallone, Rocky Balboa, Rocky Marciano, Rocky Graziano, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Rocky Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Rock Hudson, Schoolhouse Rock, School of Rock, Chris Rock, Kid Rock, Rock and Roll Lane, Noise Pollution, Hard Rock Cafe, Sam Rockwell, Norman Rockwell, Rockefeller Skank, John D. Rockefeller, Rocky Road, and just because this is the Primal Chaos mod, your very own Purple-Headed Warrior. So that's it. I've been Mimic, and now you know how to solo tame a Shadow Rock Elemental.